Julianna, how does it feel to be here at the premiere in New York City?
I am so happy to be here. This is amazing, and this is a film that I would love for the whole world to see.
And tell us about your part in the movie.
So I play Mia, and she's a cancer patient, and Audrey, Natalie Dormer, who plays Audrey, she has this bond with Mia, and it's like Audrey sees herself in Mia, and yeah.
How do you want audiences to walk away from this movie? What do you want people to take away from your performance?
I want people to take away from this performance, I want them to feel I want this movie to make them feel heartwarming, and I want them to hear this story, because this can happen to anyone, and it's really a heartwarming story.
You're a veteran actress at this point. Is there anything else that we can look for you coming up?
I actually just recently did a movie called Kinda Pregnant with Adam Sandler and Amy Schumer. I was also in A Christmas Story Christmas with Peter Billingsley.
Fantastic. We'll look for you in that. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
What does it feel like to be premiering here in New York?
It feels pretty amazing. I grew up here. The fact that the movie has come out to such a wide audience is pretty incredible. It's a wonderful story. I'm really proud of the filmmakers, and I think people are really going to enjoy it.
Tell us about your part.
I played Dr. Jeremy Lewis, who is the foil to Natalie Dormer's character, who maybe didn't feel so great about all the things Audrey was doing at first, but just really believed in the way they did things by the book, and eventually by the end of the film comes to appreciate what a maverick she is.
So with this being a true story, did you have to do a lot of research?
All the cast got to spend time at CHOP, which is the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, which was a pretty powerful experience. If you go there, it's very beautiful, it's very catered to families, and though, you only get to touch a little part of what it might be like to work in oncology, you do get a sense of the incredible commitment these people have to helping and to making sure the families are comfortable.
What do you want people to take away from this film?
I want them to have a good time. It's not all a big object lesson, right? There's humor, there's obstacles. Natalie's pretty incredible, and I think hopefully people take away that eventually, if you push hard enough, things can change.
And is there anything else that we can look for you coming up?
I have a supporting role coming up in Catherine Bigelow's untitled thriller for Netflix, but I can't tell anybody anything about it.
Well, we'll look for you, man. Thanks so much. Evelyn, how does it feel to be premiering here in New York?
It feels amazing, having grown up in New Jersey, and the story is so Philadelphia-centric. To be so close by in New York, having this film come out is really, really special. Yeah, now I live in New York, so very special. I just took a 20-minute Uber ride here.
Tell us about your character.
So I play Kate, who's the mother of a very sick child, and I come to the hospital for Dr. Evans to take care of the child, and I run out of money, and Dr. Evans takes me into her home and houses me while my child is getting treatment, and so it's kind of the impetus for the Ronald McDonald House plotline.
Did this actually happen, or is this something created for the film?
I believe this was created for the film, but it's kind of a combination of many, many people who had the same story. So, Kate herself is new, but she tells the story of many, many fathers, mothers, siblings who were visiting while they had a sick relative.
I mean, it's a true story, so I assume you did some research. Did you talk to parents or anything like that?
So the research I did was more just really bonding with a baby. I personally don't have a baby, and so I called up any friends who had babies. I asked them. I walked around with a 15-pound weight on my hip to really get that strength in my arm and that kind of extra appendage, because the baby is part of my character. He's part of who I am. So that was the primary research I did. Of course, intellectually I was curious and read a lot up about the Ronald McDonald House and this doctor herself, but my main focus was on my bond with the baby.
For a film like this, could be seen as pretty heavy. You're dealing with cancer in children. Were they able to bring some levity to it and comic relief?
Yeah, definitely. I actually think ultimately it's a very uplifting story, and I think that Natalie does such an amazing job of her sheer direction, and she jumps in the pool in that one scene, and it's comical. The way she goes about things has a level of comedy to it, while at the same time being very serious. So I think it straddles both. It's definitely more serious than comedic, but the way she goes about things definitely has a level of humor to it.
What did you take away as an artist from this, and what do you want audiences to take away?
For me, this was incredible to tell a story of something I just really believe in. The line about Dr. Evans is a woman who cared, and I, as an artist, I am an artist because I believe that we all need to care more. And when we watch other people's stories, we learn how to care, basically. We watch people make mistakes. We watch people fall in love. We watch people, and we learn to care about these people. And so to be part of a story where the primary message is we need to care about each other and we need to do everything we can to help each other, even if it breaks status quo. So as an artist, it's very meaningful to me that way as well.
And is there anything else that we can look for you coming up? Any projects that we should look for you in?
Yes, I actually just wrote and filmed a short called Freeze that will hopefully be out in late spring, early summer, so keep an eye out.
Bradley, New York City premiere, what does that feel like?
Oh, it's amazing. Since I'm from New York, I've always wanted to have a movie that premiered here. And now Audrey's Children, which is going to change the face of cancer and the people around here, this movie's here.
And how did this story come to you? How did this project come to you?
I got the script from a friend of mine who said, you need to make this movie. I read it, I was blown away. Then I met Julia, who loved her, and we started getting the movie together, pulled the director, Ami Caanan Mann, and started to cast it.
Everybody seems to be being impacted by this movie. Like, this is a powerful story. How do you feel it impacted you, and how do you see it impacting audiences?
Well, this movie impacted me because I never knew how many lives one person can touch, and Dr. Audrey Evans showed that to me. And so that was like, wow, look at the difference you can make as just one human being. I'd love to make that difference someday.
Are there any projects that you've got coming out that we should look for your name on in the future?
Yes, we are the producers of The Green Hornet and Cato, which we hope will come out soon. But we have to make the movie first, so we're putting it together now.
Wait a minute, they're remaking Green Hornet? So you got to tell me about this. Who do you want to star? Who do you want to be Green Hornet? Who do you want to be Cato?
Well, we're not in the stages of casting, but
your dream cast.
Dream cast. I mean, people that are up and coming, the people that are new. So I'd love to see someone like Brandon Sklenar coming up to be someone like that. But what's going to be interesting is the casting of Cato, because that's a scenario where you have to replace a Bruce Lee. And so we're going to be looking all far and wide to find out who can do the acting chops, and then also who has the ability to do the action and martial arts.
Now, the previous film of Green Hornet was more of a comedic take. Or is that what you're going for here?
No, we're very focused on being a more grounded film. We're not going to be deep in the comedy. We're going to be deep in what the purpose of Green Hornet was originally and how to bring that into the modern day.
I think the toughest part about someone like that, it's like a rich guy who fights crime. It's hard to not compare to someone like Batman. How do you make Green Hornet unique?
Well, Green Hornet came before Batman, so maybe we have to talk about that. But no, I would say there's going to be unique ways through the characters themselves, where they come from. We get to reinvent that. So we're going to change that a bit to make it more modern day.
Amy, premiering in New York, how does this feel?
Oh, it feels terrific. It's been a long time coming, and a lot of people working really hard and putting their heart and soul into it, so it's really terrific to be at this moment.
And tell me about the journey of this film, how did the story come to you?
It came to me as a script, and I read it and kind of liked it, and then I got to the scene where Audrey's talking to a child, one of her patients, on the roof of the hospital, and she's sort of explaining to this child how she could conceive of her own passing, and that really got to me because no adult wants to have that conversation with a child, particularly a child you're trying to save, and it's likely you won't be able to. So I thought, my God, this is the story of a woman I really need to try to help tell, because I just felt like it was such a generous gesture, and she did it in fact, like on the daily and for decades.
My biggest question is, so Dr. Evans is this huge figure in medicine. Why wasn't this story told before? Like, why is this the first time that we're hearing about it?
I don't, my suspicion is she was an incredibly modest woman. And it really was about the children for her. There's a story that I heard from Children's Hospital of Philadelphia that there's apparently a room in the hospital where it's like a conference room or something, where there are oil paintings of their esteemed doctors. She would not let her painting be hung in that room unless it was a painting with her and a child. She really was focused on the kids. And so it wasn't about her ego or her publicity or her brand. It was really just about the work. So a beautiful reason for it not to have been told, and at the same time, I'm so glad that the story is being told now.
What do you think this is going to mean to people? Like, what do you think this is going to mean to people who, have kids who are sick? What do you think it's going to mean to the medical community at large?
Well, I hope that it means that they feel, for the medical community, respected, supported. It was definitely a mandate on my part directorially that my goal was that there should be no nurse and no doctor that sees this movie and thinks to themselves, no, that's not really how they hold a syringe. I really wanted authenticity and reality and specificity to make as a token of respect for the work that they do. In terms of the families that are working through exactly this kind of a situation, I hope it means that they feel they have been heard, and I hope it means that they feel they have some sort of voice for the families and the children in their care.
This is not exactly the happiest-go-luckiest type of subject matter. What was kind of the effect that you were going for? Were you able to sort of weave humor and different elements in there?
That was absolutely really critical. I mean, the directorial challenge of this movie was, how do you take a really tough subject matter and couch it in a world that is so visceral and so visually interesting that you kind of seduce the audience into the world, and once they're there with you and feel like they're walking shoulder to shoulder with a character they feel they understand, that it just so happens at the end of an hour and a half they've been told a story about a kid with cancer. That was sort of my approach and my puzzle, and hopefully it works. That was the idea.
Is there something coming up for you next after this, or you just do you have another project already in the works?
Yeah, I've written a couple screenplays. One is a sci-fi, one is a period gothic horror. So we'll see, very different directions. We'll see which direction I end up in. But yeah, the idea is to be shooting at the end of this year.
I assume no one has cancer in either one.
As far as I know, no one has cancer in these stories.
All right. Is there anything that you want audiences to particularly walk away with, or is there something that you want the impact of this movie to be for general audience goers?
Yeah, there is. I mean, I feel like the world in 1969 felt divided. It felt like it was a bit disassembling. I feel like the world now also feels that same. I would argue maybe even more so. So it's very easy when faced with an environment and a country and a world that feels like there are so many problems and how do we ever fix it, it's very easy to feel disheartened. And I think that for me, the lesson I took away from Audrey was maybe if we find the thing that we can do in our immediate environment, and maybe if we focus on the most vulnerable among us, we can make some sort of difference collectively.
Julia, how does it feel to be premiering here in New York?
Oh my goodness, it is so amazing to be premiering here in New York. It's such a big weekend. The world is finally going to get to learn about Dr. Audrey Evans, somebody that I had the privilege of knowing my whole life, and you'll get to meet on screen.
So how did this story come to you? How did you find out about Audrey? What did you do? Research?
I was just lucky enough to actually always know Audrey. She was a close family friend, so I always just grew up in her orbit. And then as an adult, I realized she was this superhero that the world needed to know about. And so I actually profiled her on a previous show called Modern Hero that profiled incredible women role models from all walks of life. And her video took off with 17 million views, hundreds of thousands of comments and shares of people who are alive because of Audrey, who enrolled in medical school, who stayed at a Ronald McDonald House. And I just realized that her story had the ability to create lasting change in the world. So I decided to make a movie, and 7 years later, here we are.
She's such a seminal figure in medicine. Why has this story not been told before?
That is an amazing question, and I have no idea why no one has told this story before. Audrey truly is a hidden figure in time, and she deserves to have her time on screen, and she's the role model we all need.
Do you feel like there was sexism at play because she was a woman in the first? I mean, I'm just spitballing here.
Well, I think that's very accurate. I mean, she actually moved from the UK to the US because sexism was so pervasive, she couldn't get a job as a physician in the UK and had to move her life to the US to do her true calling and care for children. So absolutely there was sexism, and you see that in the subtext of the film, all the obstacles that she was up against every step of the way. And she never let anything get in the way because it was her purpose. And her purpose was making a difference in the lives of children.
You're telling this story. How did this impact you, and how do you want it to impact audiences?
Telling this story has completely changed my life. I mean, I knew Audrey, so just knowing her and being around her has changed my life. But this story has the ability to actually inspire people to do good in the world. You don't have to try to cure cancer like Audrey did to make an impact. Just be a good person and care about people. So it is my sincere hope that when people see this movie, they get excited, that they can go tackle whatever it is in their life that they care about, and hopefully make a difference in their communities and maybe the world.
And is there anything that we should look for your name on coming up? Any other future projects?
I'm working on a musical.
What?
A musical. Yes, a musical. So stay tuned.
And I'm assuming no kids with cancer in the musical.
It won't be that, not in this one, but I am very proud of this story.
Premiering here in New York, finally getting this movie out to the world. How does that feel?
It feels wonderful. I've been desperate to get the story of Dr. Audrey Evans out into the world, and what a better time to do it than International Women's Month, so I'm thrilled about that.
What does this mean to you? What do you think it's going to mean to people? What do you feel like the impact of this movie is going to be?
I've had people come up to me already, people who were Audrey's children that are now grown adults, people that had direct treatment and support from her and her department, and I know that it's a massive thing for them to be emancipated, to have their hard struggles told. So I just, as Audrey said, do this movie. She said to Julia, write the movie, do the movie for the children. So it's, we're giving it to the world for the children.
This is the BTRP Media Network.